Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So we are back working on the N52 powered BMW 130i. Now we still have the coolant leak. I don't know how many videos I have made regarding this issue. It must be a good few. I must have spent the best part of 2 or 3 weeks trying to fix this issue. If we can't get it fixed today, then I give up. I think I'll more than likely just take it to a BMW specialist or even the dealership themselves. It's just not worth me spending any more time trying to fix this issue now. It's really not. It's like probably the most frustrating issue that I've ever encountered. Usually when you have a coolant leak, you can pretty much see where it's coming from. Usually it's a split hose, a leaking water pump, or something along those lines. Obviously we have replaced a number of cooling components. We replaced the hard aluminium pipe which goes from the engine block to the water pump, I believe. That was an absolute nightmare in itself. That was like a 2 or 3 day job just to do that. It would have literally been easier just to take the engine out to replace that pipe. But we got that done. Obviously didn't fix the leak. I then replaced the water pump and thermostat because it looked like it was leaking from the water pump. Again, that didn't fix the leak. And then since then I've been, getting the car up in the air, having to take off the under trays, having to take off the anti-roll bar, and having to try and adjust the hoses because it looks like it's leaking from one of the hoses, but I've replaced numerous clamps. I've tried to tighten them up numerous times and I still really don't know what the issue is. It actually looks like that it's leaking above this hose right here. So if you don't know what this is, this goes from that hard aluminium pipe that I was talking about earlier to the water pump. Now obviously I have already replaced this. This is not a genuine BMW part, but this is from a company called Rain, or Reen, however you want to say it. I think they're an American company and they may actually make the genuine OEM hoses for BMW. I'm not too sure, but I actually bought a kit from FCP Euro, again in the States. It comes with these 2 clamps, this is like an auto locking coolant clamp, a regular Jubilee clamp, and then this pipe itself. Now like I said, that's where it looks like it's leaking from. That sort of area. It actually looks like it's leaking above it, but above it there's only the AC compressor, so I really don't know. Obviously I'm going to be replacing that small hose today. I'm also going to be replacing the lower radiator hose because at some point it did kind of look like it was weeping from the bottom of here, so I'm just going to cancel that out, get that replaced. I'm also going to be swapping out the expansion tank as well. No real reason really, other than the fact that I have one of these lying around. This is a brand new February build steam part. The one on the car is obviously the original. I don't think there's any cracks or anything in the expansion tank, but yeah, let's just hope we can get the problem fixed today, because like I said, we've wasted so much time trying to sort this issue, and I can't move on because I don't want to do other things to the car if we can't fix this issue, because it could be something like a cracked block, which obviously if the block's cracked then we need a new engine. So yeah, really don't want to put any more time and effort into the car until this has been sorted. So yeah, let's just hope and pray that we get it sorted today, and yeah, if we don't, then like I said, I give up and it's going to be someone else's problem. But yeah, let's get outside, let's get cracking. Okay then, so as you can see, the 130i is up in the air. I have already went ahead and drained the coolant. I also went ahead and, well, the anti-roll bar that was already removed. I went ahead and removed the expansion tank, just the bolts for the water pump and the thermostat. A couple of hoses here, so this is the one, well, the main one that we are going to be replacing today. I have noticed that this does look a bit swollen, so I mean hopefully this is the cause of our leak and it will be fixed today, but yeah, we shall see. Various different clamps that I tried to use to keep this thing sealed. This U-shaped hose, this is still good. We are going to be reusing this today. and then we have the lower radiator hose, which you're probably wondering, why is it in two parts? Well, this side, the side that goes on to the thermostat, that came off relatively easy because I have already replaced the thermostat. But the side that went on to the radiator, that was an absolute pain to get off. I'm guessing it's never ever came off the car before. So yeah, ended up cutting the pipe in half, and then it was just a case of levering this end off. It took a good hour or so just to lever this off, because of course you are levering against plastic, and the radiator itself is plastic, so I really did not want to crack the radiator itself. But yeah, now that this is off, I guess it's just going to be a case of reinstalling everything. So of course the main thing that we're going to be replacing today is this short hose, and I will show you exactly where it is on the car, but just know that this is not a how-to video. Like I said, I have pretty much done this exact job like 5 or 6 times now, so I really don't need to go over it again, but we will take a look underneath the car. And as we can see, access really isn't the greatest. You know, there's really not much room in here. It's why you need to remove the anti-roll bar, so you can only just about get your hand up in here. But that short rubber hose that we are going to be replacing goes from this hard aluminium pipe onto the water pump here. As you can see, water pump is unbolted, so we do have some wiggle room there. So I think first thing is first is to get that new hose installed and then get it clamped down. Okay, so that short rubber hose is now in place. Let's get some light on there. As you can see, that was very awkward to get into place, because I'd only removed 2 of the water pump bolts. I couldn't really move the water pump fully out of the way, but managed to get there in the end anyway. As you can see, new hose clamp on there and a new self-tightening hose clamp, whatever you want to call that. But yeah, hopefully that should hold, and hopefully this should hold as well. Now, I don't really know how much to tighten this. I know it does have a, you know, flat bladed slot in it for a screwdriver, of course, but I believe these hose clamps do have a torque setting. I think it's literally like, I don't know, 3 or 4 Newton meters, but I think what I'm going to do is leave it as it is, and then obviously I'll put everything back together and then see if we have any leaks from there, and then I may try and tighten it slightly more from there. But yeah, I don't want to over tighten this, because you can ruin the clamp and you can damage the hose by doing, you know, by over tightening it. So yeah, that's that hose now done. That should be the hardest thing that we need to do. So yeah, it's just going to be a case of reinstalling the U-shaped hose and bolting the thermostat back to the water pump, and then the lower radiator hose as well. Okay, a little update then. We're looking good. That U-shaped hose is back in place. The new lower radiator hose is in place. Now all that's left is the new expansion tank, and then this little bracket here as well, which if you have a look here, you can see one of these clips is broke, so this hose is just kind of left to flap about. So I think it's just held in by one e-torque bolt, so I'll remove that and yeah, get this bracket swapped over. Okay, so we have replaced that small little bracket. Those hoses are staying nice and firm in there now. It's just the new expansion tank to go in place now, and it does have a new level sensor in it as well, which is nice. Okay, it's in securely. We also have a new radiator cap or expansion tank cap as well. Of course we need to add coolant first though, that would be a good idea. Okay then, so it is in fact a new day. We're starting to run out of light yesterday, and as you can see I have put the new reservoir cap in place, did top up the coolant, and bleed all of the air out. It should be at the max, but as you can see it has dropped a little bit. Have we fixed the coolant leak? I'll let you decide. No, we haven't. Coolant is still leaking. Now again, it's still not obvious where this coolant is coming from. You know, if you have a look underneath, it looks like it's coming from above the water pump. What is above the water pump? The AC compressor, which of course doesn't hold any water, so it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now if we have a look at the new lower radiator hose, we can see that is wet. That is old coolant, because when I reinstalled the coolant temperature sensor, that just started, you know, squirting out of there. Needed to replace the O-ring, replace that now, and that is all fine. Now if we have a look at this hose here, which goes from the cylinder head down to the thermostat or the water pump, I believe. Let's see if we can have a look underneath. We're going to need some light. Okay, so it's still pretty hard to see. I appreciate that, but I can see that the O-ring on this pipe has been pinched. Now it doesn't appear to be leaking any coolant past it. It doesn't look particularly wet, but along the head gasket that does look slightly wet. Now do we have a head gasket leak? I don't think so, but I do think that this coolant flange does need to be replaced, or at least the O-ring replaced. But I think what I'll more than likely do is order an aluminium replacement, because I know these are a common failure point and they do go quite brittle and then end up snapping off. So yeah, I have ordered an aluminium replacement, and I will be installing that once that arrives. But yeah, could this be our coolant leak? Could we have a slight weep from there and then it running down, you know, the edge of the head gasket along there, down below the AC compressor and then to the water pump area? Could this be our leak? I don't know, but I'm hoping that it is. Okay, so of course the coolant leak is not fixed, but I'm not giving up just yet. Like I said, we have one more possibility. It's so difficult because with a coolant leak you'd expect, you know, you'd expect to just put the cooling system under pressure, i.e., you know, fire up the engine or power up the electric water pump to do a coolant bleed. But yeah, it doesn't seem conclusive. You really cannot see exactly where the coolant is originating from. So I don't know, it's one of them. That coolant flange has to be replaced anyway, or at least the O-ring. But like I said, I've already ordered a replacement aluminium piece because it's a common failure point. So I guess after we have replaced that, then we'll know if it's time to give up. But yeah, I'm very, very confident now that the coolant leak cannot be coming from the water pump area. Like I said, we have replaced the water pump, the thermostat, the aluminium pipe with the gasket and O-ring, the small rubber hose. We've replaced that twice now with multiple hose clamps. We've replaced the lower radiator hose, we have replaced the expansion tank, we have replaced the radiator cap or expansion tank cap, and we still have the leak. So yeah, I'm pretty confident it's not coming from any of those areas, and I'm just hoping and praying that it is coming from that coolant flange at the top that goes from the head to the water pump or the thermostat. I'm not too sure which. But yeah, let's hope that fixes the issue. I'm going to leave this one here. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Please give it a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you have not already done so, and I will see you all in that next one. Peace!